The word Uncharted is defined as a place which isn't yet found on any map, which is what the game is focused on, to adventure and explore the uncharted territory of the world. You do this as the protagonist Nathan Drake, with the help of the senior treasure hunter Victor Sullivan, the journalist Elena Fisher, and many other companions Drake meets on his journey around the world. What some people don't know, however, is that the story in every game so far is based around actual people who lived hundreds of years ago, like Sir Francis Drake and Marco Polo.
Really?
Come on,
No.
Marco.
Polo.
The character Nathan Drake was greatly influenced by Jackass member Johnny Knoxville, according to the developers. They said that Drake's charm and rough sense of humor was based on Knoxville. The lead game designer even said that they wanted to capture Johnny Knoxville's coolness and goodness. There are also many people who say that he's more like John McClane from the Die Hard film series, as they both share the same sarcastic sense of humor and likable personality. They also happen to wear very similar outfits. The lead cinematic animator also wanted Drake to be a guy people can relate to, who really struggles to climb and jump and gets nervous when he's under fire. Just a regular guy. Nathan Drake's real name or the location of his birth is unknown. However, what we do know about his early years is that his mother had committed suicide when Drake was 5 years old, and after this, his father left him to the state, where he grew up in an orphanage. As he lived there, he developed a fascination towards adventuring and exploring, and especially towards the former British explorer and privateer Sir Francis Drake. At an unknown age, Drake left the orphanage to learn more about Sir Francis, and as he was finding out more about him, he got into some trouble, which led to Drake killing someone for the first time. And this is also where he meets Victor Sullivan. Uncharted has not only been mentioned as a video game, because between 2011 and 2012, the American comic book publisher DC Comics published a 6-issue comic miniseries with the name Uncharted. The creator also worked with Naughty Dog in the creation of these comics. The story, however, is designed not to tie with any of the released games so far, so that the people who haven't played the games can enjoy them. When video games are made into movies, the movies often tend to suck, to put it lightly. But with the upcoming Warcraft movie, which seems to be quite promising, this pattern of terrible movie adaptations of games might end, hopefully, because a movie adaptation of Uncharted is currently in production. The movie director was going to be David O. Russell. There were even speculations about who was going to play the role as Drake. Nathan Fillion had expressed interest in playing him, but the director wanted Mark Wahlberg to play Drake, as he has been featured in some of Russell's previous films. Unfortunately, things took a turn for the worst in 2011 when David O. Russell turned in the script for the movie to Sony, and they did not like it, as there were apparently a lot of characters who weren't even from the game. They also said that the script took a plot in a direction they did not want. And as a result of this, O. Russell left the film's development, as well as Mark Wahlberg. After this, the producers hired another director, but as he left in 2012, they had to find a new one, and in 2014 they did. It was decided that Seth Gordon was to direct the film, and today it's said to be released in June of 2017. But if this pattern of directors leaving continues, it will probably not happen in the near future. But if that's a good or a bad thing is hard to say. In this game series, there are some noticeable Easter eggs, while most of them are considerably harder to spot. There are actually quite a few of them, so I'm just going to cover some. While it is shown a lot of times during the campaign of all 3 games, it is not quite easy to spot these 3 initials placed around the world. NDI, short for Naughty Dog Incorporated, can be spotted on Nate's gun holster, Harry Flynn's shirt, the MK&I grenades, and in the London bathroom where he smashed the giant's head in. In a cutscene in Chapter 1 of Uncharted 2, there is a Greek inscription that translates into Politlas Sees Nathan in English, which roughly translates into persistent god Nathan or much enduring divine Nathan, which is probably an allusion to Odysseus from the ancient Greek story Odyssey, as he is called Odysseus, divine sufferer. So you can say that they are actually comparing Drake's sufferings with the story of Odysseus. The quote "Kid got wet" that Drake says in the co-op objective mode when he kills an enemy seems to be kind of dirty. However, that's not the case. In fact, it was Nate's voice actor, Nolan North's 8-year-old son, who said it after a game of Wii Sports Tennis, where he won over Nolan. He then asked his son where he got it from, in which he replied that he had just made it up. He said that the phrase was comparing that people don't like losing to the fact that cats don't like to get wet. The multiplayer medal, Drake's on a Plane, from Uncharted 3, is awarded if your team is in the lead after the plane takes off in the intro in the map Airstrip. This medal is a reference to the movie Snakes on a Plane. Additionally, in Uncharted 2, there was a chapter with the title Drake's on a Train that was shown during PAX East of 2010. However, later when the game was released, the title of the chapter had been changed to Tunnel Vision for unknown reasons. Whether it was because of copyright issues or a decision by Naughty Dog is still unclear. In the bar of the first chapter of Uncharted 3, a newspaper can be seen with the headline, "Scientists are still struggling to understand deadly fungus," which obviously is a reference to their most recent released game, The Last of Us. But what is interesting is that it was not intended to be there. And not long after Uncharted 3 had been released, fans had begun speculating about what the newspaper was referencing. But apparently no one was even close to the right answer. As an addition to this Easter egg, the pub with the newspaper is in itself an Easter egg, but in The Last of Us, and can be seen near the end of Chapter 4 with the name O'Sullivan's. In Uncharted 3, there is a chapter that is called Stowaway, where Drake is inside of a cargo plane, which catches fire, resulting in him being sucked out into the air. Fortunately, he manages to grab a crate with a parachute midair, so he can land safely in the Rubal Khali desert, in the middle of fucking nowhere. Okay, but seriously, this is possibly a reference to a mission in GTA San Andreas with the same name, where you also have to board a cargo plane in a similar way. During the 1500s, there was an English explorer called Sir Francis Drake, who were sent on secret missions by the Queen of England. Nathan Drake claims to be a descendant of Sir Francis Drake, thus making the story of Uncharted greatly influenced by Sir Francis' voyages and missions. For example, the first game, Uncharted Drake's Fortune, had the main objective to find El Dorado, which Sir Francis had faked his own death to find, but never did. And also in Uncharted 3 is about finding the Atlantis of the Sands, which Francis Drake had given up his search on. Along with some hints and tips to solve puzzles and information about some of his discoveries, Drake's pocket-sized journal actually contains other things like pictures of his friends and references such as the Scarometer, with Sully's mustache at third place, Slippery Naked Guy at second place, which appears in Uncharted Drake's Fortune and are called Descendants, and in first place, Demon Sasquatch, which are actually called Shambhala Guardian and appears in Uncharted 2. Another page in his journal contains the faces of Victor Goddamn Sullivan. Why he's called Goddamn between his first and surname is because of Harry Flynn referring to him as such in Uncharted 2. And if you look closely, you can see that the 4 images Drake has doodled on are of the exact same photo. 3 days before Uncharted 3 was due to, the lead programmer had played through the game and realized that after reaching the halfway point, numerous of bugs would appear, objects would disappear, walls would be there 1 second and gone the next. Everything was just a complete mess. Why all these bugs occurred was because the game was over the capacity for the PS3. In fact, they were pushing the limits of the PS3 so hard that the hard drive would fragment. Why they didn't find this before was because everyone in the quality assurance team was using a newer hard drive, and the lead programmer who found the error was using an older version of the PS3. So what they did was that they went in and tweaked the most frequently called function in the entire game, even though this was the day after they had told Sony that they wouldn't change the code anymore. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, is sadly the last installment of the Uncharted series, and is set to be released March 18th of 2016. Unlike the previous games, Uncharted 4 is going to be more focused on who Nathan Drake really is, and on what drives him. The plot is set 3 years after his last adventure, in Uncharted 3. Now Drake has settled down with his wife, Elena, and finds out his older brother Sam is alive and is forced back into the world of thieves.